What is going on? How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's having a good day so far, and I hope everybody's having a good week so far, even though we are pretty fresh into the week still. But we have some stuff to talk about with Texas football because Steve Sarkisian is absolutely dominating the transfer portal right now. I absolutely love the direction the Longhorns are going in. So we're going to be covering some of that, some of the big pickups that Texas has made, and I will be doing another video over the rest of the pickups, but these are kind of the main ones that really stood out to me that I think will come in and be immediate game changers. So we'll be talking about those. So yeah, another Texas video. If there are any returning Texas fans, I greatly appreciate you guys. You guys showed me a massive amount of support in the last few videos I did for the Longhorns. So if you are, then I greatly appreciate you coming back around and watching some more videos I post about Texas. So lots of Texas content on the way as well. But let's get straight into this one. So not going to go too in depth, but just kind of give my thoughts and opinions on some of these and how it could affect this Texas team and how it could really elevate this team going into next year. So the first one is obviously, if I'm a Texas fan, or if you're a Texas fan, I would be absolutely thrilled to go out and get Cam Coleman. I didn't really expect Texas to actually land Cam Coleman. It seemed like it was going to be Texas Tech for a little while, and then it started to sway towards Alabama. Absolutely slam dunk for Steve Sarkisian to go out and land a guy like Cam Coleman. You know, Cam Coleman, number one receiver in the portal, and that is very much for a reason. 56 receptions last season, 708 yards, with pretty bad quarterback play. If you did watch any Auburn football, Jackson Arnold was not on it. Ashton Daniels wasn't the absolute greatest, I would say. You're definitely upgrading your quarterback play, and I'm very curious to see what that looks like with Cam Coleman. You know, 5 touchdowns last season. He averaged 12.6 yards per catch, so you will have a guy that can get you past the sticks pretty easily, it seems like. And this is a guy who he catches anything that's thrown his way. So a lot of the drop issues that you did see last year with Texas, because I watched a lot of Texas football, I watched pretty much every game. There were some drop issues. There were some pretty major drop issues that I noticed with the receivers. I don't think that's going to be happening now. That's not going to be happening with Cam Coleman. I'll go ahead and tell you that. He's incredible. He's absolutely incredible. And this is a guy who's probably a future first round pick in the draft, probably a future top 15 pick in the draft. If you look at Xavier Worthy, I'm like every Texas fan knows who Xavier Worthy is. I'd say Cam Coleman is they're not comparable, I would say, because they're completely different play styles. Cam Coleman, I think he's going to be he's going to be a bigger target, obviously. I think he has a higher ceiling than Xavier Worthy. Maybe that's crazy to say, and maybe some Texas fans might hate that. I don't know if people realize how good Cam Coleman is. Cam Coleman has every bit of capability to be the best receiver in the entire country. I think Cam Coleman and Ryan Wingo next year is going to be major problems for defenses to defend. I think it makes this Texas offense so dynamic. If you have a guy like Cam Coleman on the outside, you have a guy like Ryan Wingo, you have Arch Manning, who I think is going to elevate his game even more. You know, when you look at quarterbacks in a system, their biggest leap is from their first year start into their second year start, and that's kind of a trend that I've noticed with quarterbacks. Arch Manning is going to be taking that second year leap, I think. I'm still massive on Arch Manning, and he played very good down the stretch. You saw all the flashes, just never really fully put his game together. But like I said, down the stretch, started to look more comfortable, started to use his legs a little bit more, which really, I think that helped his game a lot too. So, like I said, you're going to have a very dynamic offense with Arch being able to throw the ball around, with Arch being able to use his legs, and now Arch has Cam Coleman to throw to. He has Ryan Wingo to throw to, and it seems like you're going to have a good run game this year. I would bank on having a good run game this year because we're going to talk about this, and you just picked up Hollywood Smothers. Hollywood Smothers is an absolute stud over from NC State. So if you look at his total yardage, this isn't just rushing, but this is total yardage. He had 1,128 yards on the season, 7 touchdowns. He's one of the top running backs in the portal, very dynamic player. He was originally committed to Alabama, and Texas pulled some strings. They flipped him at the last minute. He's a super explosive player who's going to be very fun to watch. I think a lot of Texas fans are going to absolutely enjoy him. You're going to have him as a 1-2 punch with another guy that we're going to talk about in just a minute. Hollywood Smothers is a guy who he's very quick, very shifty. You're going to see him mixed in the passing game as well. I think this is an outstanding pickup to go out and get him. A lot of teams were high on him. There were a lot of big programs after him. Good job by Sark to go out there and land a guy like Hollywood Smothers. I think this is an awesome pickup as well. Now, the one that I'm really excited for is Ralkeek Brown. So Ralkeek Brown, he was a 1,000-yard rusher. So he's another top back in the transfer portal out of Arizona State. Talk about a dog. Ralkeek Brown is a dog. So, Big 12 first team tailback in 2025. He rushed for 1,141 yards, averaged 6.1 per carry. Being up, like the running back room, it's going to be legit. You have a legitimate running back one here. You finally have a legitimate running back one. Like him, I can't get over it. Ralkeek Brown and Hollywood Smothers is going to be an elite 1-2 punch. And then like I said, you'll have Hollywood Smothers getting involved pretty heavily in the pass game, I would assume as well. He's going to be a pretty reliable check down for Arch Manning because you see him run some plays like that pretty often. I think he'll be a pretty good receiving back, and Ralkeek Brown's going to just be the bell cow running back on the ground, I would think. He's super explosive. He's a super gritty player. One of those running backs everybody loves to watch. He, last year when Sam Levitt went down, Ralkeek Brown really took over that full Arizona State offense and really carried them through the season and won a lot of games, really pretty heavily relying on the run game and Ralkeek Brown, and he was able to maintain the workload. You really lacked in run game last year. I like where you're headed now. You had pretty much your whole running back room. I don't even know what I'm saying. Your whole running back room hit the portal pretty much. To go out and get Hollywood Smothers and Ralkeek Brown, you can't do much better. Can't do much better. I know a lot of people did want Jaden Baugh. I did think Jaden Baugh was heading to Texas for a little bit. You can't be mad whatsoever at getting Ralkeek Brown. I think Ralkeek Brown is an absolutely, I'd say, slam dunk pickup as well. So the next one is another slam dunk pickup, and that is Rasheem Biles. Rasheem Biles might be one of the more underrated players in the entire country. He's one of the top players in the country, in my opinion, and he's one of the top players in the transfer portal, one of the top linebackers in the transfer portal. Talk about a dog. This one's another one. 101 tackles last year, 39 solo tackles, 62 assists, 17 tackles for loss. Led the ACC at Pitt. 4.5 sacks, 2 interceptions. Both of those interceptions returned for pick sixes. 2 forced fumbles. Like I said, 2 pick sixes. I'll throw that one in there as well. Again, in his career, he's had 3 interceptions. All were returned for pick sixes. So you got a coverage linebacker. That's what I'll say. You got a linebacker that can go out there and create some turnovers and create some points off turnovers, which I think is massive. Second team All ACC in 2025, third team All ACC in 2024. He had 3 blocked punts in 2023 as well, just to throw that one in there. Super dynamic playmaker, great coverage linebacker, like I said, good at rushing the passer, great run defender, which is going to fit very well in Will Muschamp's defense. I'm super stoked to see Rasheem Biles in that Will Muschamp defense. When you look back at what Will Muschamp was doing at Georgia with that defense, if you get even a fraction of that over at Texas, I think you're cooking with something. I'm still very high on the Will Muschamp pickup. I think that was absolutely incredible hire to go out and get Will Muschamp. Rasheem Biles is going to fit straight in. Absolute dog again. Texas fans, you should be absolutely thrilled. If you haven't watched the tape, go watch his tape. He's incredible. He is absolutely incredible. This is one of the more underrated pickups in the entire transfer portal. You got a true playmaker right here. Now another one, if you want to look at the secondary, and that's Bo Masco. Bo Masco, another one that I'm a big fan of. So 53 tackles, 1 pick. Well, that 1 pick was returned for 68 yards, 4 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, 2 tackles for loss. He's a player that's super aggressive near the line. If you look at his career totals, you look at 105 tackles, 9 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, 2025 All Big Ten honorable mention. He's one of the top coverage linebackers. If you look at the graded linebackers, he's one of the top coverage graded linebackers in the entire Big Ten last year with Rutgers. Number 5 corner in the portal, super sticky corner with really excellent ball skills, I would say. Like when you watch his tape, he has excellent ball skills. He can, you'll see a lot of pass deflections, maybe even create some turnovers. Pretty steady in the run. Well, I'd say pretty steady in run support, so pretty steady in the run game as well. And that's another thing that Texas struggled with at times. You know, you didn't really see guys. I saw a lot of missed tackles. You saw some struggles in the run defense, and that's a you'll see change with that in Will Muschamp's defense. Because like I said, that's a big part of Will Muschamp is stop the run. So that's going to be a massive gap that gets filled with Texas that I think is going to do very well for this program next year. Now, you got to know a lineman, which I really like. And that is Dylan Sikorsky. So Dylan Sikorsky is a big interior O lineman. Started 6 games last year, but he played 444 snaps. In those 444 snaps, didn't allow a single sack. He's only a redshirt freshman, so you have plenty of years of control on with him. You know, he's a high ceiling guy. I think he's a very high ceiling guy who's possibly going to come in and contribute very quick. You know, I think he's beefing up that O-line to protect your young quarterback and really get the run game going because, like I said, you really lacked that run game last year. Arch at times lacked pass protection. Dylan Sikorsky is a guy who can come in and really provide both for you. I'm a huge fan of this one. This is another one. Offensive linemen don't quite get the credit that they deserve a lot of the times. Like when you're picking them up out of the portal, this is a big get for Texas. I'm super excited for this one as well. So yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts and opinions on some of these. If you did enjoy this video, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys considered subscribing to the channel. Like I said, going to have a lot of Texas content coming. Got another video coming out over really all the other pickups that Sark has done because I think Texas is absolutely killing it in the portal, like I mentioned. And this is not even close to all they've done. There is still plenty more that I'm going to cover in another video, like I did say. But, yeah. A lot more Texas content on the way. So stay tuned for that if you are a Texas fan. I greatly appreciate you guys again, by the way. Show me so much support. So I do greatly appreciate you guys. Just wanted to say that again. But yeah, that's it for this one. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.